Sometimes you have to do that because the easy challenge is one you'll get lazy with. The big challenge gets you hungry.
Oh, how the tables turn.
That's a heavy topic, and we need to focus on that. If not for yourself, then do it for your children.
Black book is in black.
Black
book.
Men Talk, Black Book.
Oh, I put the wrong thing on. All right, everybody, what is up? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversation, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that is sponsored by Blk Men Care. And being part of that movement, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world since 2021. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, solution for someone's problem. And just to make you aware, you are watching Blk Men Can Talk, a show where Black Canadian men come together, have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community. I'm joined by one of my co-hosts this evening, Kofi Sadat. What is going on? Look at that T-shirt.
There you go.
Look at that T-shirt. I just said, look at that T-shirt.
There you go. There you go. Listen, the product. There you go. We got to represent for the Black men today.
How you doing? What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm surviving. Had a little bit of a cold early in the week, so I'm under recovery. But yeah, bro, I'm good. Happy March. I'm glad we marched through Black History Month, and we're marching forward, right? So I'm doing good. How you doing?
I am keeping blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Yeah, March is here, and as I've said to some other people, everyone said February went so fast. It went so fast.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, in terms of like some good things happening, but the weather didn't make it seem like it was fast.
No, no, and it's still continuing. Thank you very much.
Yes,
sunny but cold today in the Greater Toronto area, but that's that's the way of the world. Let me ask, as always, what was a win that you had since we've got together digitally over the last week?
Yeah, I think for the overall week really was just going out and supporting a lot of good events in the city. In particular, I went to Rise, which is an entertainment piece where a lot of young people across the city, they get together. Brother Randall is the one who started it, so they do a lot of edutainment, right? So a lot of cultural entertainment. So it was good to go out there. I hadn't been there for a while. I brought up some of the young men that I'm working with so they can be in community. And it's just really nice to see that good things like that are being maintained. And then I tried to do one of those all-nighters, a good events in Scarborough, saying what's up to Chef Karima. She does, hey, you'll love it. She does an event where at 11 o'clock at night till 3 in the morning.
What?
But it's a games night and some.
Oh, that's different.
And delicious food, like dinner. Some really good.
Hey, that I would check out. Wow, that was good. Actually, hailing up, I went to. They're not plugging it. We're not plugging it, but I actually went to Chris Jerk.
Oh, nice.
In Markham, not their Birchmount location.
Oh yeah. I know the Markham one. Yeah, by Kennedy. Yeah.
Yes, Kennedy, just north of Steeles, and the food was on point. I was very impressed by the size of the location.
I was gonna say, did you sit in or did you take out?
No, sat in. Sat in. Yeah, sat in, and was blessed enough to have about a half an hour conversation with Chris Taylor, who is Chris Jerk, and his partner was there. They've been together over 27 years.
And you got to get them on the show, man. Chris is
well, we're talking about that and some other things. I talked to him to see if they may be interested in getting involved in Bly Black's Restaurant Week that happens every year. So I'm making that introduction will be done in the next 24 hours because I spoke about it. He says, oh, he's very interested. He says, Dundas? I mean, there's a Black Jamaican with the name Dundas? Like the street in Toronto.
Especially nowadays, that's a very
so it was a cool conversation, had a great time. So that was a win. And then this afternoon I had I had, well, I was about 10:45 last night. I got a text message. I'm going, okay. And I look, and it's a person that I met at least 20 to 25 years ago.
Right.
And we keep in touch periodically. And where were they texting me from? They had just left the concert last night with Will Downing and Jeffrey Osborne.
Ooh, that's
down at Falls View Casino. And I said, what? And I knew and I had mentioned that a while back, and I did not track to keep it up and find out what was going on. Said it was a great time, mostly Americans there. The thing that burned me, I said, man, why didn't you reach? She goes, oh, I thought you would have known, because her sister who got the tickets had 4 comps.
Wow.
And if she would have told me, we could have went, all it would have cost us was the transportation.
Yeah, nice.
So I told her, but we were on the phone for almost 3 hours.
Wow.
Like we had so much to chat and catch up with. And she may be part of the Dr. Vibe, one of the Dr. Vibe shows in the very near future. Not going to go any further, but we talked about it.
Yeah.
And so there's an potential opportunity to have this person part of the Dr. Vibe show, camera facing.
Okay.
In the near future. So I'm excited about that. So that is good. So so a number of different wins. And just one other thing, people, yes, Black History Month has finished, but Black History is every day. Hashtag Black History 365.
That's it. We just started.
All right. So what we're going to go to a break. When we come back for the break, we're going to do some housekeeping, and then I'm going to be introduced to a new friend, someone that Kofi Sadat knows for a while, but let's do a break.
Watch Black Canada Talking live on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where Dr. Vibe and Cesar Diva Musa give their takes and POVs on news stories from a Black Canadian perspective.
Check out Black Men Can Talk live on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, where Dr. Vibe, Kofi Sadat, and Kofi Morris, where Black Canadian men come together to have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community.
All right. So that's the double. So it's like a Black Sunday for men, because myself and Sidar Dima Musa were on at 5 o'clock.
Nice.
At Eastern time. And then Black Men Can Talk is on at 8 o'clock.
Black everything. Black everything.
Black Men Sunday. Black Men Sunday. Full force.
I like
full
it.
Force. As always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service, excuse me, on any of the platforms that I'm a part of, email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. As always, if you want to call in, go to your favorite browser place, put in callme.road.com, use the code FSPL8L, and go to the next screen, put in your name, make sure echo cancellation is off, and just click on join conversation. And I think we already have a comment. Okay, that doesn't need to be there, so we're going to just put that for there today.
Yes.
All right, we have someone who's a brand new friend to the Black Men Can Talk family, but someone you know of, so I will let you do the introduction.
Yes, very honored to bring in a young man, and I want to emphasize the fact that we want to get some young men on the show who are doing incredible things. So I want to introduce Romel Trotman, who is Caribbean backgrounds, of course, Grenada, Trinidad, big up. This young man is incredible. I met him in community as an entrepreneur, a vendor who sells cultural products. He'll let you know more about that. So he does like shirts, color posters, drawings, really inspirational. Just in grade 12 from the west. I think around Oakville, Burlington. He'll clarify. But yeah, this young man has a clothing line by the name of Kingdom Kush. So that should kind of tell you, for those who know, that this brother is very serious. Also studying to get into marine biology, theology, also a baller. We might see him on the Raptors one day. So yeah, let's give it up to our young man, Romel.
Mr. Trotman. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I appreciate you guys having me today.
Well, appreciate you take time out of your positive, productive schedule to hang out with us today. So, how's your day been?
My day's been good. It's been like really productive today.
All right.
Nice.
Here, man.
Kofi Sadat, do you want to kick it off, or do you want me to kick it off, sir?
Listen, I'm going to let you kick it off first, and then I'll get into my questions.
All right. So my first conversation piece is, what sparked the idea of Kingdom Kush Clothing, and how old were you when you decided to make a reel? Because you're not that old, but I'd like to know, how did the idea come about, and when did you decide to make it a real deal?
So when I was 15, I was talking to my parents. I wanted to get a job, but I didn't want to work for someone else. So my mom approached me with the idea that since I know my history and a lot of people don't, I should find a way to teach people about the history that is like swept under the rug. So like through trial and error, me and my mom came up with this idea of a clothing line that teaches people about Black history and African history, pre-colonization, just to get the word out there, just teach people about Black history.
There you go.
Cool. And when you were first dreaming about this line, what problem or gap in our culture did you feel you were responding to?
I was responding to like the distance. I feel like Black communities tend to like be more distant from each other. I'm trying to like bridge them together through my clothing line, to bridge between like the Caribbean and African backgrounds, so that everyone understands like we're all from the same place and we all come from the same roots.
Nice. And one more before I hand it over to Kofi Sadat. How did you come up with the name Kingdom Kush, and what does it mean to you personally?
So like when I was younger, my mom would teach me about African civilizations, and the Kingdom Kush was like one of the most prominent ones in modern day Sudan. It's famous for having one of the first universities just developed in every single way. And I wanted my clothing line to represent like a forgotten African civilization that had one of the first universities in the world.
All right, and I will correct Kingdom Kush, and I will hand it over to Kofi Sadat.
Great. So it's good to see you again, my brother. And I personally have supported the brother because his stuff is off the chain. I hope that during the show you might be able to pull up some shirts or some books or something, just so people could really see the level of product. So when I met this young brother in community, you were vending at an event, and so how did you go from having the ideas to actually wanting to go out there in the marketplace and start selling your stuff?
So in the beginning phases, like the hardest part about coming up with this business and bringing it into reality was making the designs, because at that point I had to do a lot more research just to figure out and make sure that everything was factual. And then making the designs and putting them on t-shirts was hard, and then figuring out the kind of material and like that best fits with the print design, and figuring out like the best way to keep the t-shirts from peeling, because that's a big problem with the t-shirts.
Right.
Just stuff like that. And coming into the marketplace, like I wasn't a people's person. Like I had a problem talking to people, so I had to learn how to come out of my shell and just be more engaging to customers.
Nice. So generally, how have people received your products and yourself, you selling it as well as a young Black man? How have people received you, or when they see you selling?
Everyone's really surprised, because everyone usually goes to my mom or my dad and thinks that they're selling it and I'm just helping.
Yeah.
Everyone's really surprised that I'm 17 years old and like this aware of my culture and making sure it's about Black empowerment.
Yeah, I love seeing that, because when I see mom setting up and she's like, no, this is Romel's, I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and it's good to see that. It's really good to see that. So how do you think what you're doing, can inspire other young Black people? Like, in what ways do you see it inspiring folks?
I see it inspiring people in ways that, like, even if it's not about our culture and stuff, like inspiring Black youth to start their own businesses and not work for like just get like a 9-to-5 or normal job, just start their own business and just learn to work for themselves and learn about managing money and things like that. And then within the culture, just learning about our history and where we come from, because like I can speak from experience, like the school education system doesn't teach you about Black culture. So just learning about your culture and inspiring people to dig deeper into their culture. Because like even if someone doesn't buy my shirt, as long as you walk away with like a spark or an idea to go learn about like who you are and where you come from, then I'm okay with that and feel accomplished.
Nice. And then I'll give one final question in this segment. Obviously, there's always going to be challenges, right? So what challenges have you experienced as, a young Black person trying to get this business, out there?
The main problems I faced would be marketing, because as like me, I grew up without a lot of technology in my life. So I had to learn how to market things and just get out there online and social media.
Right.
And then within like vendor shows and stuff, like at certain vendor shows, like the crowds aren't always there. And like some people aren't always like drawn to my clothing or just drawn to some other stuff. And then you like that discouraging effect that comes, can't always get discouraged though. Like as I've gone, I've learned that like there's going to be ups and downs and you can't get discouraged and always have to have confidence in the product you're selling.
Oh, I love it. Okay. All right. I'll pass it on to Dr. Vibe.
Yeah. So you talk about educating people on Black Egyptian history and African kingdoms through your design and coloring books. What key truths or myths are you trying to correct?
I'm trying to correct the fact that everybody thinks Black history started with slavery because that's what we learn in school. But Black history was like vibrant and like colorful before slavery. Like we had civilizations in Africa that were very developed and very advanced in many ways. So I just want everyone to know that that's how Africa was like before. And also about the contributions that Black people have had to society as it is now. Like even me, like going to school, a lot of people don't know about like the like programs like the Black Panther Party or like stuff like that. So I'm just trying to teach people, even my age, just about some stuff that they might not have known about Black history.
Nice.
And also, which specific figures, gods, or stories from Kemet or Kush show up most in your work, and why did you choose them?
I usually gear towards Egyptian gods. The main ones I gear towards are Osiris, Ra, and Anubis. I always gear more to Anubis because I feel like I got like more of a connection to Anubis, and he was always my favorite. Ra is the creator of everything, so I have to have him. And Osiris is, through what I've learned, has the most interesting story towards me. Like he was at the top, and then his brother spitefully killed him, and then he rules from the underworld. And those three just come up the most in my pieces.
I love it. So that's the whole theme of my brother's keeper. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes we have challenges as, community, specifically as men around those pieces. So it's good that you're illustrating. Maybe you can, again, part of this is that we're in class here and just letting people know as well, who's watching the Blk Men CAN Talk show, it's never an empty cup. So we're moving both ways. So educate us a little bit about who someone like Anubis is. You said that's one of the figures that you use. So who is that person and what's the significance of Anubis?
So Anubis was the god of the underworld. He would guide people safely from the judging stage to the underworld or the afterlife. And that was kind of his job. He would just be there as a gatekeeper to the safe side of the underworld, just guiding kind souls and who have been judged based on their life and good deeds they've done while they were alive to the underworld.
Okay, I love it. I'll ask one more question before, if it's okay, Dr. Vibe.
No problem.
Do you have anyone in particular or any buddies that have inspired you to be on this journey of of self and creating products that represent our community positively? Is there anybody who's inspired you?
My mom inspires me the most because without her,
That's the right answer.
yeah, without the teachings and everything that she's done for me, like I wouldn't be here. Like even just the idea to start my own business and just everything in general, like my mom helps me with everything, and I would be a mess without my mom.
There you go.
And you wouldn't be fed either, right?
Yeah, just everything in general.
There you go. So shout out to moms, but also I think it's important, parents, that we're supporting the visions of our children. Whether it's our physical children or our community children, but I think it's very important that parents and members of the community support our young people, right? So
yeah, I want to ask some quick questions here for conversation pieces. How do you balance making something that looks fresh and street ready while still carrying a deep educational message?
That was a hard thing to figure out in the beginning because I wanted it to be like inclusive to younger people, but still like have a message and everything. So I tried to like change designs and gear certain like designs towards things that would catch the eye of younger people, but still like have like writing on the back that tells the story about what's on the front. So like I actually have a piece here. It's an Ankh sweater,
right?
And then the story of the Ankh and the meaning on the back.
Nice.
And then the word Ankh, key of life, on the sleeve.
Okay.
It's just stuff like that, just to gear towards the younger generation while still carrying the message of Black culture and history.
So as a high school student running a brand, what's been the tough, actually I'm going to skip because you said marketing was the toughest. So let me just skip to this. Have you ever felt underestimated because of your age, and how did you respond to that?
Yeah, there's been a few occasions where I feel like people have passed me by, like at vendor shows, because they think like my business, like just taking a look at me and my age, like seeing that I run it, they just think like it's not going to be the best because like I'm so young and I don't have as much resources as someone older than me would have. So that's the main overlook that I see from my young age.
Also want to ask, what's one mistake you made early that taught you a big lesson?
That's a good question. So with me, like my clothing, the mistake I made was a certain type of print called vinyl. It there's like you have to cut it a certain way and then put it on the shirts,
right? And
it would rip very easily. Okay. And if you didn't put it on a certain way, it had like the chance of sticking to itself. Right. So that was the biggest mistake I made, and I learned how to get around that and use different printing methods like DTF and heat transfer paper. Right.
Kofi Sadat, back to you.
For sure. So outside of the entrepreneurship piece, what other interests do you have to kind of balance off the fact that you're not going to do business 24/7, and we always talk about balance is important, whether it's self-care or doing things, hobbies, interests. What kind of things do you do to balance off not always thinking about business?
So me, I go to a basketball prep school. So like for me, basketball is just, other than my business, basketball is life. Right. So like the people on my team, like those guys are my brothers. So like I just spending time with them throughout the day, the school day, just that's my like pastime. Like because I'm there from 7:30 to 5, so that's like my whole day. Yeah, basically at the school. So just spending time with them is like my favorite pastime. Just chilling with my brothers.
Okay, I love it. Go ahead.
And yeah. So when someone buys one of your products, what change do you hope happens in their mind, their conversations, or their confidence?
I'm hoping that the person who buys my product, even if they're not Black, I hope they have a desire or a spark, just a little like light switch in their brain to go and find out where they're from or like just a spark to go talk to their parents about their lineage or just where they originate from, and just to learn about like the advanced society of where they come from and how they got to where they are, and the founding fathers of who got them to where they are.
Nice. So also, I just want to ask a question around, I mean, obviously you're here, you're in the moment. I'm assuming you're in your last year of high school. Am I correct? Okay. So in terms of, I guess two things, in terms of the clothing brand and, you know, the other products, you know, what's your vision ultimately? Where would you like to see, if you had your wish list, where would you like to see this go? And then other than that, what are your future visions for yourself?
A vision for my brand would be to branch off into something I feel like that would be even more fashionable for people my age, because the way like I see it right now, like a lot of young people aren't buying my shirts and my designs and stuff. It's more of just like older individuals who are buying my stuff. So like just maybe limit down the amount of like writing on the back and like make a more like modernized design would be the vision of my goal. And hopefully just branch this into the sky's the limit. So just like maybe even like a brand as big as Nike or Adidas one day.
Love it.
And just my goals in general, I would like to play professional basketball, study kinesiology or marine biology, and just especially marine biology because I like animals. So just, yeah, that'd be my professional goals.
I'm here laughing in my head because my youngest son, actually my son's the same age as you, and he kind of wants to study the same thing. Well,
nice,
like marine biology or zoology, something with the animals. I'm like, okay. Have you considered any schools you're looking at now?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, all good, all good. Do you want to go ahead, Dr. Vibe?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I have anything. You have covered a lot. You know, you always hear that phrase, when I was your age. No, when I was your age, I wasn't this forward thinking. So I think that is fantastic in regards to that.
Yeah.
I guess also too, how do you see your coloring books alongside the clothing to keep learning going beyond just wearing the piece?
So for me, the coloring books were a branch between the designs and like people under my generation. So like little kids. So like I actually have some coloring books here. This is my Egyptian coloring book.
Nice.
So like this page here, like my idea was the parents can read while the child draws.
Nice.
And there are more pictures than reading, just to keep the child engaged. So yeah, that could be like a bedtime story or any type of story that engages the child and the parent into learning or sparking in that new idea.
What is the thought process you go through before you produce a new piece of clothing line and when you produce a book? What sort of thought process do you go through?
For me, my books usually are based off of what's already in my clothing line. So like I have a new book coming out. It's a hip hop coloring book. So it's usually based off the pieces I already have. And then when it goes into a new piece or a new like line of clothing, probably just anything I see throughout the day that could just spark an idea, and then I just write it down on my phone. Yeah, that just sparks a new idea into making a new line. Or
so do you draw yourself or do you do digital? How do you get the images?
For the coloring book, I use AI for the pictures.
Right.
But I do draw myself.
Okay. And what do you find? What is the difference, you know, in terms of, or even preference, right? Because we had a conversation last week about AI with one of our guests, and obviously you say you do freehand as well. So in terms of yourself, you know, is there any preference? Do people, you know, kind of lean towards one or the other?
I feel like the AI captures more details than the freelance hand could capture. Like with AI, you could make up any picture or take any picture and just make it into a coloring book page, just by changing the colors of the picture. And it captures all the details properly and all the details that could be used in the coloring book.
Nice.
That's
Right.
it's very
Well,
good.
is there anything? I mean, if somebody's thinking about, it doesn't have to be a young person, but if somebody's thinking of getting into a similar, line of business, what kind of advice would you have for them?
A piece of advice I would have is just start it. Like, you're not going to get younger than you were this minute or today, so you might as well just start it now. If it's not successful, then it's not successful, but at least you tried.
Right. I love that. So are your classmates aware of the work that you're doing, or is it just something that is in the community?
Yeah, my classmates are aware of my clothing line. Numerous of them have been supportive of my clothing lines. And when I went to a normal high school last year, I had the chance to bring my clothing line into the school for a Black History Month event, and I sold it to some classmates and people I know at school.
Nice. I was just thinking about that, as we're having a conversation around, have you ever thought about getting any of your work into the actual school system? Because, as you mentioned before, that's not really reflective of most of our realities of, young Black people in school. The curriculum, the images are not always culturally connected. So have you ever thought about, maybe petitioning some of these schools, especially the younger ones, about getting some of your products in there?
I've messaged members of the school board I used to be a part of, and my mom works in the school.
Right.
So she's messaged and talked to principals and higher ups at the school, but I haven't got any updates as of right now. And yeah, I'm still trying and pushing.
All right. So for anybody listening out there who's in the school system that has a level of influence, please hit up our young brother Romel at Kingdom Kush. Definitely check out the website. A lot of good, just products, but information is on the site as well. So I love that as well. So, and then I'll give another question, because I know we're going to be playing a video very soon, interview that we did. But are there any particular books that you read to, for your cultural inspiration? Because again, you're saying you're coming in with, obviously a lot of cultural knowledge, but are there any books or any authors that that you read that kind of inspires some of the ideas?
There's an author. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. My mother has a bunch of books upstairs. He writes books about the Book of Negroes. He wrote the Book of Negroes. I just can't remember his name.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
that's Lawrence Hill?
Lawrence Hill. Yeah, Lawrence Hill. I read pieces of his work, and Langston Hughes. Yeah, those are pieces I read to gather inspiration about where I come from in Black history.
Dope. I love it. All right. I don't know if you have any not final words, but we're going to be playing a video. We'll ask you to stay on just to kind of set it up for people. And this is probably somebody that you definitely want to check out as well. His name is Anthony Browder, and he's an author. He's a lecturer. He's done trips to Egypt or Kemet over 26 trips over the last 20 years. He takes groups of people there and goes into the tombs, goes into the pyramids, and really just a lot of the same imagery that you have, he kind of goes into it. So he was here in Toronto this week, and I had a great opportunity to hear him speak as well as to interview him. So we'll share that, and definitely we can do some reaction. I don't know if you're going to take a little bit of a break, Dr. Vibe, while I set it up, or if we can go straight into it.
If we can go straight into it, that would be the best.
Right.
Because I know that our guest, his time is probably limited, so don't want to delay. And thank you, Romel, for hanging around, because I believe, as Kofi Sadat said, that you'll get a lot out of this also. So definitely looking forward to seeing this conversation. I know Paul is a big admirer of Mr. Anthony Browder, so I know it's going to be really good for all of us. Okay, I see Paul is getting it set up here.
All right, so please let me know if the sound is coming through. Welcome to the Blk Men CAN Talk show. My name is Kofi Sadat.
Yeah, we got some audio here. Can it go any louder, or is that it?
Anthony Browder, formerly known as Tony Browder. We used to
Maybe
read his book, as you can see back in the day. This is a classic, the Browder Files, which is
here. I'll pause.
Yeah. No, go beside the volume. The volume thing, turn it back on.
Yeah.
Click on the play and then the volume. Okay. So it's probably that's gonna be the maximum. So just click on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Call it one of the blueprints for the Kemetic and African image revolution. Again, thank you very much, my brother, for being here.
My pleasure.
There you
Good
go.
to be with you.
There you go.
Sure.
So those who are not familiar with who you are, kind of maybe give us a little bit of your background, so they can get a better idea of who Anthony is.
Sure. Well, I'm from Chicago and moved to Washington, D.C. to attend Howard University back in 1971. I was introduced to a whole new world, met Black folk from all over the world in Washington. And my awareness, my consciousness of who I was as a person of African descent expanded. And I have cultivated an interest in African history and culture as a result of meeting Ivan Van Sertima in 1977. He made me aware of a world that I never knew existed. And that prompted me to begin to read and study more about African history. I wound up going to Egypt in 1980 with Dr. Ben. Fast forward to today, I've been to Egypt 68 times. I'm doing my last 3 study tours to Egypt this year in 2026 during the summer and in December. And been excavating tombs in Egypt for 15 years via the Ancient Restoration Project. We have uncovered a number of interesting artifacts relative to the 25th dynasty, excavating tombs of Kushite priests on the west bank of Luxor, Egypt. And just came out with my latest book, the 3rd volume of Browder File Essays, entitled A Browder Perspective, My 50-Year Journey to Enlightenment. So I'm here in Toronto today to spread the word and to warm things up in this cold-ass place.
There you go. All right. So you definitely mentioned Egypt or Kemet.
Mm-hmm.
And, those folks who obviously are wondering, and the question is, why Egypt or Kemet? Well, what significance does that have in our collective history as Africans?
Egypt is the Greek name for the oldest documented civilization known to mankind. Most of the names of African people, places, and things have been changed by non-African people. Egypt is a Greek word, Sphinx is a Greek word, pyramid is a Greek word. So if we don't know the original name that African people named their lands, the people they interacted with, and the objects that they created, then you don't know anything. Egypt has provided the world with the very first example of what human beings were capable of doing when they are connected to land, the creator, and each other. So we find that Egypt is the oldest documented civilization known to mankind. Egypt is a civilization that thrived for over 3,000 years. So we have numerous examples of African excellence that we can build upon. So that's been my initial fascination with Kemet/Egypt. And I've been blessed to have been involved in archaeological excavations, which deepen my understanding and my appreciation for this African culture. And what my specialty has been to identify the elements of this ancient civilization that have surfaced all around the world. So my second book, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, lays out the architectural, the symbolic, the religious, the cultural contributions that people of the Nile Valley have contributed to the entire planet. And I'm focusing my time and energy on being an advocate for telling our story, because others have appropriated what our ancestors have done without acknowledging the source or giving credit where credit is due. So I'm proud to be a vessel through which these ancestors can speak and let the world know who they are and what African people have done, regardless as to where we may find ourselves on the planet today.
So that being said, I'm sure that globally, this is a perspective that our young Black men are often being challenged in the society in terms of, sometimes they're, according to the stats, they're being, not as well in school, unemployment, about violence and those kind of things. But, what kind of inspiration do you think that them knowing about some of the great things that we've done in our history would be able to propel them to go forward? So what kind of things could we share to inspire our young Black men?
Sure. Now, this is my first time in Toronto.
Yes.
And I've been talking with several people about issues that are confronting African-American males here in the city, and they're no different than the problems I grew up with on the west side of Chicago. It's no different than the problems I've seen in Washington, D.C. or any other place in this country. And what we're dealing with is a social condition that is the result of people having been starved of accurate historical and cultural knowledge. And as a consequence, we see that many of our young people think that to be smart, to be intelligent, to be articulate is to be white. They think that only because they don't know that Africans were the first human beings on the planet. They don't know that Africans were the first people to write, the first people to read, created the first universities, the first architects, the first engineers, the first mathematicians, the first astronomers. And I'm not saying these things just to make me, feel good and talk about black accomplishments. I'm saying these things because they're true. I'm saying these things because everybody in the world needs to know this. This is not Black history. This is world history. And when more of our people, young people particularly, understand that they are the best example of what it means to be human.
Yes.
Right. And so as human beings, we've done what no other people on the planet have been able to do, which means that they have inherited these traits and these abilities. So they just need some people in their space, and sometimes in their face if necessary, to remind them who they are. Human beings don't disrespect other human beings. Human beings don't call other human beings out of their names. They don't denigrate the women. They take care of themselves, they take care of their communities, and they build something for future generations. That's our legacy. That's what we've done longer and better than any other people on the planet. So in my work with young people, this is the message that I impart to them. And as I'm sharing this information to young folks, they sit up straight. They pay attention. They dig in and they want more, right? And as a consequence of them being exposed to information that resonates with their soul, they know it's the truth. They feel it. They hear it, and it's what they've been waiting for. And as a consequence, when you give them the truth, when you feed them truth, it nourishes them, and you see a reflection in everything they do, right? And so that's the job of responsible brothers and sisters, such as yourself and those that you work with. That's our job, to model for young folk and to teach them who they are, because these systems that we've been exposed to are not going to tell them the truth that they need to know to become better human beings. That's our job. And when we do our job correctly, we change the consciousness of the children within our community, and those children then go out into the world and change the world.
So again, referring back to image, I know you talk a lot about image, and I think this is almost like Afrofuturistic, I would say, because you were ahead of the curve when it comes to these pieces. I will say that. So this way we speak a little bit to the importance of image, in particular in our generation where everything's very content driven. We're in quote unquote the information age. A lot of imagery is coming forward, both negative and positive. So let's talk about what kind of impact could, being mindful of the imagery that we're putting out there to this generation and to ourselves.
Sure. Well, I think it was the Chinese who said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Pictures have the ability to convey quantum amounts of information in minute particles of time, which is the reason why hieroglyphics or metanetra is such a powerful form of communication, because you're speaking to the conscious and the subconscious simultaneously. So the cover of this book has done a lot to draw people to it. There's also an illustration. This particular illustration in the book, right here, this particular illustration is one of the most common, particularly the one of the brother rising up out of Africa with his hands raised in the air. This particular image is one of the most popular tattoos used by brothers in the military. I was in Japan, 1994, at a Air Force base in Misawa, the north of Japan. As I'm walking around doing presentations, talking to folks, I see brother after brother after brother with this tattoo, right? And so when I inquired about it, they said, "Oh yeah, we go over to someplace in Alaska, right, for R&R, and there's a tattoo artist there who does all of our tattoos." Yeah. And I'm getting pictures from brothers in prison with that tattoo. Right, so it's the image of an African from the Nile Valley rising up in his full power and glory that speaks to our subconscious mind, because we know that's us. Yes. Right? So images have the power to speak to the subconscious mind. And when you're in tune with those images, and they can be reinforced by words of power, right, then the two processes working together will transform a sleeping mind into an awakened consciousness, which then has the capacity to peer into the future and create the world that their children's children are going to inherit. And that's what this whole thing is all about. It ain't about the now. Yes. It's about the now to come. It's about the future. It's always about the future. And so everything that we do, everything that we say should be geared toward creating the world that our children's children are going to inherit. And to the extent that you do that is the extent to which the ancestors and the Creator will empower you to create that world and to preserve that world, because that consciousness is what makes the world a better place. And we can certainly use that consciousness right now, because you just turn on the news and you see the world is going to hell. America has lost its mind and it's about to drag the rest of the world to hell with it. That's only because there needs to be a shift of consciousness in order to restore Ma'at, in order to restore circumstances that are more favorable to human beings being able to fully express themselves as the sons and daughters of the Most High.
Okay. That was a great conversation. Really good. Really good.
There you go.
Since I'll let since it's all about the future, Romel, any comments you have or any questions you want to ask Sadat about that conversation?
I love the part where he talked about Kemet or Egypt being addressed in a Greek manner. It's like all the gods, I've addressed this. All the gods on my shirts and even in the books are using the names Ra and Anubis, but these are the Greek versions of the names for them. And I've tried to learn how to incorporate, like Osiris's real name is Asar. That's his Greek name. I've tried to incorporate that, and I'm starting to incorporate that into my brand. And just like subconsciously or consciously, just recognizing that and trying to fix it.
Nice.
Oops. Well, I can tell when Paul was talking about this gentleman coming down, I could feel the excitement in his voice, and I can understand why.
Yeah.
And his many different ways of showing his intentionality of educating the next generation. He's very, very intentional about it. He's very passionate about it.
Right.
And I thought that was really, really, really good. And again, he's a master storyteller, right? So showing what he does through his lived experiences and others' lived experiences, very powerful, very intentional. Again, I love his focus on the importance of the future it's all about the future. And I thought that really stood out in the conversation that we saw.
100%. And then connecting some of his work to, what you're doing, Romel. I always emphasize on the image revolution. So when you look at the images and the books and stuff like that, how it's so important, because in terms of the language, we know it's not just all about the written. And then you mentioned about the imagery and the power of that, and there's even the creativity, and then giving the curiousness, like what does it mean when someone sees like a big ankh, right? It's a conversation piece, right? Okay. So this book was written in 1989. So that shows you, brother, how you in alignments, X amount of eons or decades later, for you to be doing this piece, which is important, which is the image revolution. because there's a lot of things, especially as African people, when it comes to image. We see we barely see images that honor ourselves and our ancestors and our contributions. So definitely I would recommend that, if you are looking to get some books of inspiration, anything by Anthony Browder. He just came out with a new one called A Browder Perspective that talks about the last 50 years of his work. And the rest of the interview is on my channel called A Right Way Home, RITE, A Right Way Home. So
On YouTube?
On YouTube, you can see the rest of the
Let me
comments.
just put that up.
Yeah.
Paul, how was your experience? Because I know this was something you were very reflect on your experience.
Yeah. It was like mind blowing, to be honest with you, because this is somebody definitely that I've been inspired, and to actually meet him. And the most important thing is he's so down to earth. He's just chill. We were making jokes, acting, about some of the work, some of the people that he's been around. But more importantly, I was shocked that this is the first time he's been to China, right? And a lot of his contemporaries who do a lot of work in what they call Egyptology, have been here. The other thing, I thought was really inspiring, and I told your mom about this book, Romel, so you have to remind her. He said the person that's inspired him was a Caribbean person, a Guyanese, Dr. Ivan van Sertima. He wrote the book, They Came Before Columbus. What he talks about in that book is that, we were here before the slave trade. We had built ships in Kemet or Egypt or Kush, and we'd sailed over to this world. And how, he unpacked, the evidence in places like, Mexico and South America and North America itself. We've been here. And I think that changes the narrative, because we're not solely victims of just being here, but we actually were here. And there's so much proof. Even we talk about the young men that actually helped to translate the language when the first settlers came to, I guess, Upper Canada at that time. I'm forgetting his name, but the young man who basically spoke the indigenous languages. So he was able to translate that for the white settlers.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the only way you can speak a language or know a language is you'd have to know that language before.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way, if I don't speak, whatever language, then I wouldn't be able to translate that for you. Right? So that's evidence, Canadian history. But I really was inspired by the fact that he said, Ivan van Sertima was actually the person he went to the lecture. He was a graduate of Howard, Tony Browder. Dr. Anthony, he said in all his years of schooling, the first time he learned that the Egyptians were Black was when he went to a lecture from Ivan van Sertima. And this is a person who went to HBCU. He goes, I never learned that. He goes, that blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, big up to the Caribbean people, because they definitely have a lot of inspiration, whether it's the Minister Farrakhan, the Malcolm X, a lot of these folks, Malcolm X had Grenadian parentage, his mom, right? So it's to kind of put it out there that, that to me, it was just inspirational for him to say that, yeah, that was, the light that flickered on for him.
Nice. And I'm just going to put up on the screen. You can watch the full conversation between Kofi Sadat and Anthony Browder at Right Way Home on YouTube. So go check it out there. And I've also on all my platforms, I've shared that information in the comment section. So it's not only on screen, but it's also in the comment section. Romel, what energy do you get after watching that conversation?
I'm empowered to learn more about the subconscious and how images, such as the one on his book, can tap into the subconscious and make people feel a certain type of way, because I never recognized that as images can affect the subconscious of people. So that's something I have to learn and adapt into my own artwork.
Yeah. And you've been doing it though. I'm gonna say, bro. That's what I say. When I saw your stuff, I was just like, whoa, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're ahead of the curve and you don't even know it, right? So
100%. 100%. That's good. I'm sure some way, somehow, hopefully we can get this conversation to Anthony and just show how that conversation inspired yourself. I'm sure he would be happy and pleased to hear that he's reached out to another person of the future, inspiring and providing that good thought process.
Definitely.
Right.
So I'm gonna put this out to you, my young brother. So as I mentioned, every year he takes people from North America and not just North America, he's done from people from around the world, but he basically takes people to Kemet, like I said, or Egypt, and you do the whole exploration and you go into things a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Next year will be his final
So maybe I'll put their dibs in.
Brother,
maybe a suggestion. Maybe you want to share this interview with Anthony.
Yeah.
Conversation. Yeah. Maybe we can get Romel over there on the last one.
I would definitely love to go.
Yeah. And
I have one more. Actually, I've got a conversation piece quickly. How does learning from elders and scholars shape the way you design, market, and talk about your brand?
I think communicating with elders helps me look at the way I make clothes and like what I put on clothes from a different perspective, because like elders, each one of them has a different perspective that they look at certain topics from that I like have never even thought about. And usually elders come into the environment of my table with new information that I've never heard of. It's like I've learned a lot and made new pieces on people and gods and goddesses about conversations that have been sparked from elders, and I've just remembered them. So I think elders bring in a lot of information, and they like always bring a good conversation with them.
Nice.
All right. So this is how people get in contact with you. Is this the best?
Okay, let me do that. There we go. Is that all covered there?
Yeah, everything's there. Thank you.
No problem. Hey, gotta represent. What we'll also do is bring up, if you want to get in contact with Anthony, there's the information there, the key information for him. I'm also going to put it in the comment section on all my platforms right now. Any final comments from either one of you before we roll it out?
I appreciate you guys having me today, and thank you for this opportunity to speak on your channel.
All right.
It's our channel. We do it together.
This is all of us, brother. It's
all of us. We're all in this together, man. We're all in this together. Kofi Sadat, any final words?
Yeah, I'm honored. Again, like I said, it's great to have you, and it's important that we have, younger voices or young Black men who are doing positive things. Of course, we know most of the negative media out there doesn't showcase some of the great works such as yourself, Romel, that you're doing out there. So we're honored to have you in our space. We're here to support you. We're here to push it, keep doing well. And you're definitely a great example, even to the younger folks out here. So I'm giving thanks to have you on this conversation. We finally were able to do it. And of course, keep doing it, man. It's all about the progress.
I endorse that Kofi Sadat message. It's endorsed. Yeah. All right, as we wind it up here, if you want to get in contact with Kofi Sadat, email nazojam@gmail.com, Instagram, Maroon. Love that. Maroon. YouTube. I can think I have to add some more stuff because Right Way Home, I know, but I'm gonna have to maybe create another lower third for you. And also paula.osborne.31 on Facebook. Our dear partner, Kofi Morris. Email getwellstayfit@gmail.com. Instagram Kofi @KofiCoach_, and then also Cosmic Wellness Group. Facebook Kofi Coach. With myself, all you need to do is reach out to me at taplink.cc/the_VIBESHOW.com. If you want to contact us, we'd love to hear from you. Guest suggestions, things we can do better, because we always need to do better, email us at blackmencantalk, and that's BLKMENCANTALK @gmail.com. Finally, you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Paul Osborne on Facebook, and the Dr. Vibe website. So as always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And as always, if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. Walk good. Wonderful conversation, gentlemen. Be well and keep the faith.
Yes.
Well,